Hello, welcome to another edition of the Pace Report. I'm Brian Pace, reporting live here at Birdland Jazz Club here in New York City. A little over 3 years ago, I introduced you to a dynamic young vocalist pianist by the name of Champian Fulton. In fact, in those 3 years, this young lady has really taken the jazz world by storm. In fact, she's played at many international jazz festivals all over the world. In fact, tonight, she's performing selections off her brand new CD, Champion Sings and Swings, on the Sharp 9 Records label. And tonight we're going to sit down and talk about this brand new CD. Also tonight, and also this past week here in New York, was another first for Champion. This is the very first time she's ever charted number 24 on the jazz charts on jazz radio here in the United States. A major milestone for her fourth jazz release. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the sounds of Miss Champion Fulton live here at Birdland, here on the Pace Report here in New York City. You have come a long way in the last 3 years since we sat here in this very club. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
This new CD, you are really swinging. In fact, I think the title of this CD kind of really is an understatement. Tell me about the selections on this CD and how you came about to interpret some of these classic songs.
Well, we chose tunes that we had been performing for the past year or so. We like to just pick songs that we think people are enjoying and that we're enjoying playing. And it took us we worked on the album about 7 or 8 months, picking tunes and picking arrangements, and then it all just came together.
You know, I noticed that, you go hard with American roots music. I mean, there's blues and there's jazz and there's a little bit of R&B, rhythm and blues, early R&B.
Yeah.
And one in particular you did this evening is the U.B. Blake composition, which I was like, wow.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, that's I'd Give a Dollar for a Dime, which is by U.B. Blake and Andy Razoff. And the first time I heard that song was almost 10 years ago maybe, with Johnny O'Neill. You know Johnny O'Neill, the piano. He's a great hero of mine, and he sang it and played it. And then I looked it up, and I found this great Joe Williams version, and it's a beautiful song that's a bit underperformed, definitely under-recorded.
And you also have the legendary Eric Alexander on here as a guest also.
We do. We have Eric. It was very, very fun to record with him. I've actually never performed live with him, but it was really fun to have him on the session. It adds a lot, I think.
Champion, your career has been really about bringing your voice to jazz music and carrying the tradition forward. And at your age, how do you get in tune with some of these songs? Because part of these songs are attached to the Great American Songbook.
Well, I grew up with this music. With my father, always played, this music in the house. I mean, I was born listening to Charlie Parker with strings. And it's just the music, I relate to it. I mean, I feel it inside of me. And it doesn't feel like from another time or an older genre, or the lyrics don't feel foreign, I really relate to it.
Something else, too, I want to congratulate. This is your 4th CD, but this is also the very first CD in which you charted.
Oh, yeah. We rated this week. We're on the Jazz Week radio charts. We debuted at number 26. I'm very excited. It is my first time, so yay.
One of the things that you have done throughout your career is you have meshed both your vocal as well as led your ensemble, as well as play the piano. Talk about some of your piano influences and how hard or how easy it is for you to do both of them.
Well, when I started playing and singing, I was like 13. Up till then, I had just been singing and playing piano at home, but not on the gig doing both, because it is challenging, and it sort of requires that you have a certain skill level on at least one, so you can kind of focus more on the other. But I just, it's been a long time now that I've been doing it, and I feel more and more comfortable with it all the time. Although I think I will sort of forever remain a pianist at heart. And one of my biggest influences is Errol Garner. I love Errol Garner very much. And tonight we did Moonglow, which is always the tune that makes me think of him. And of course, Bud Powell and, the jazz greats. This last weekend, though, I was really fortunate. I got to see Benny Green at the Jazz Standard. Did you go? Amazing. I've loved Benny my whole life. I've been buying his records, and he was just phenomenal this weekend. So I always love to see him in person.
Because, sometimes, I noticed it tonight, and also in your past shows, you incorporate the trio quartet with vocal, but you also set aside a part just playing piano.
I like to, because I really like to play piano, and sometimes on my shows I play more piano than just one tune and do a couple, but then people are always like, oh, sing more. So I like to go back to what I really love, which is the piano. And you talked before about singing and playing and band leading, and it's getting to be very natural for me, but I think only in the past maybe 5 or 6 years. It's taken a while to get there.
relatively. You're a baby. You're still a baby in this in this music. What is it about now? You know, because everybody's inundated with American Idol and the X Factor, and you're doing something very bold. You could have easily gone and done pop and done very well, and you're doing well in jazz. What is it about the American public now that is really either naive to jazz music or blues music, or just not coming back to one of the original art forms, America's only art form?
I wonder, I often think that it's exposure. Because you turn on the TV or the radio or the computer, and like the pop music, the pop stars are in your face all the time. They're singing the music on the advertisements, they're on the TV shows, their ads are on there, their records on there, they're in the movies, their music's in the movies. And, jazz just doesn't get that kind of exposure in the media. Because I think when young people, or not even when young people, but when people are exposed to jazz for the first time, they really like it. I mean, I'll play a song and people will come up to me and they'll, maybe it's Stardust or Tenderly or anything, and they'll be like, oh, that's beautiful, I love that, I've never heard it before, did you write it? And to say, well, no, it's a classic tune. And so I think people just need to hear it more, because I think they already love it in their hearts.
The evening breeze, red, that breeze, tenderly, the trembling trees, and rain. Then you and I, then wandering high and long, the shore was dim by Seattle and Berkeley. I can't forget it, hard to heart with your arms open wide and suddenly you find you took my love so tenderly.
Your father has been very, very much a great part of your life, but also you've studied under some great luminaries like Clark Terry and John Faddis.
Yes, I grew up with Clark. He was like a grandfather to me. I mean, because him and my father are such good friends. I met Clark when I was not even a year old yet, and I started playing trumpet. Of course, him and my father wanted me to play trumpet, so I started on that first. But he was always very encouraging, if not very strong with me. He was always very serious about practicing and being dedicated. And then later, when I was in college, is when I was able to study with John Faddis, and it was really a wonderful experience. I mean, John is a really great musician. He's a complete musician, and he knows a lot about recordings and tunes, and we were able to just sit and talk, and it was really good for me to be able to interact with a musician, not just a teacher.
What do you tell young jazz musicians who are just studying or learning the music, they're in school right now? What are some of the things that you would suggest, as well as give advice to, as far as starting their career now and moving forward?
Well, I think the most important thing is to listen to music, and to listen to the music, rather, to really absorb the language, the rhythm, the harmonic language of jazz through the recordings, and of course through live performances if you're able, if you live in New York. But for someone who lives somewhere else, just to sort of absorb the culture through the recordings. And there's a lot of great printed materials out there, which sort of is unusual, but not a lot of people read the books. I mean, I just finished reading Sidney Bechet's autobiography, and it was fascinating. And it really teaches you a lot about jazz history, and also just the culture of the music, which I think is something that's not being addressed in jazz academia. You know, they sort of treat it like music, and here are the notes and the appropriate way to play them, but they don't talk about the lifestyle.
Well, it's too late, baby, you hurt me to no end. The way that I loved you was a shame and sin. But I can't let that get me down. All the chances roll down. Well, it's too late, baby, too late. When you just couldn't feel right. All we ever did was fun and fun. But I tried and I tried. Hoped you'd be around someday. But you found somebody new and went on your merry way. Well, it's too late, baby, don't come knocking on my door. Well, it's too late, baby, things ain't what they were before. There's one thing I want to say as I watch you walk away. But it's too late, baby, too late.
Champian Fulton, what does jazz music mean to you?
Jazz music to me is swinging and having a good time, just feeling good and having fun.
That'll do it again for another edition of the Pace Report. I'm Brian Pace, reporting live here at Birdland. I'd like to personally thank Miss Champian Fulton for her time, as well as the staff and management here at Birdland. As always, please visit my website, www.thepacereport.com, for my weekly column, as well as my past segments. Until next time, remember, if it's in the groove, it'll make you move. Till next time, peace.
Oh,